Well, you have been listening to a conversation I've just had with the board chairperson of Eskom, Professor Malekapuru Makgoba. This on the back of André Ruyter being cleared of the allegations that were leveled against him by the now fired Chief Procurement Officer, Tshitangano. Well, Mr. Tshitangano joins us. He is on the line talking to us from Thohoyandou in the province of Limpopo. Mr. Tshitangano, thank you very much for your time. Firstly, can I just ask this simple question to you? Did you accuse André Ruyter of racism at any stage whilst you were at Eskom?
Good morning, Collie and listeners. I think we need to start by clarifying the inconsistencies that you were raising before we can come to the normal interviews. I don't know whether you will agree to that.
That's fine, sir. Please go ahead.
I was not dismissed for poor performance. If you read the Kasim report, from the beginning to the end, there were no charges of poor performance that were presented at the disciplinary hearing.
It says misconduct, yes.
And there's no finding on poor performance. The findings are very clear if you read from paragraph 33 of that customer report. There's nowhere where I'm being dismissed for poor performance.
All right.
Therefore, it is very important for you as a journalist and the viewers to read that report thoroughly so that you can inform the public without bias. I have never been dismissed for poor performance.
All right. In fairness, the chairperson did say that that report is going to be released, so we don't have it yet. I'm going to get into the issues around what the professor actually said is the Achilles heel at Eskom, and that is the whole issue of procurement, and that was headed by you. We'll get into that in a moment, but still, I just want to start with this issue of racism. Did you allege or did you accuse André Ruyter of racism?
The answer is no. The context that was raised in my letters was that there's inconsistent treatment of suppliers. And the example that I've used, which was only one example, was that there was a white company that received favorism from him, and there was a black company that was treated differently. And those are the allegations that were supposed to be investigated. But we would have looked at whether indeed A and B were treated differently. But the seminar report does not go because it was limited by the terms of reference that was given to it.
All right. So when you went, therefore, or when you heard that an independent inquiry was going to be conducted into the allegations among which racism was being leveled against André Ruyter, why did you not correct that? Why did you leave the allegations of racism to fester in public?
Thanks. I will give you the correspondences that I sent to the lawyers of Eskom. Immediately I received those terms of reference. I've gone through them. And I indicated that these terms of reference, they are not reflecting what is my allegations in my letters 1, 2, and 3. There were other allegations that were excluded completely, allegations relating to the appointment of bowmen, allegations relating to the modifications of black and rich contracts. And the black and rich contract investigation was done differently by Crawford investigators. That report, I'm told, is out. the other allegations were investigated by Semenya. The report that is out, which is confirmed, it's the Semenya one. But the board is not releasing the other report, because if they release it, it will confirm that the allegations that I have made have been confirmed, and therefore I will be vindicated. It will be important for you to, unfortunately, I came after Professor Scott. Professor Makhoba will need to come back, or you request Eskom that they must release the other report, so that you don't only have one report of Semenya, you must have the other report of Crawford investigators, which was also investigating my allegations. These two reports must be read together.
Okay, all right. And I'm picking up a very interesting comment from you, and that is that you are going to be vindicated. I take it then that you are going to fight this finding of the independent investigation that was led by Advocate Semenya. What does that mean then in terms of your employment at Eskom? You have been dismissed. Are you saying that you are fighting this?
Sorry, let's differentiate between the two processes. The one for dismissal is a matter that should be challenged in other fora. But the issue of investigation, there are laws in this country, and those laws, the Protected Disclosure Act, says if you have any suspicion whether there's a conduct that is unlawful or irregular, you must report those allegations to the authorities. The authorities have also an obligation to investigate them within 21 days. These allegations that were investigated by Eskom, they were only investigated after a year. The board of Eskom took a decision only on the 18th of March 2021. The first allegation was reported to Prof. Makhoba on the 16th of February 2020. Therefore, if the allegations were only leaked to the media only in 2021, and you read the statement of Eskom as if I reported these allegations to the media, it's incorrect. Those inaccuracies in the statement should also be corrected, because even if you read further, it says it talks about poor performance. And Kasim's report, if you don't have, I will email it to your contact immediately, so that you should be able to read this report and inform the public correctly.
All right. Let me ask two quick questions, Mr. Tshitangano. Unfortunately, time is against me here. The process that was led by Advocate Semenya, do you find this process to have been fair? That's the question.
The process was not fair. I can give you an example why. When I was going through Semenya, we went through the recruitment. And in the recruitment, there were 3 general managers that were appointed by André without authority. And those appointments were only ratified by the board. To give you an example, the company secretary's position was filled on the 2nd of July 2020. And the board only ratified that position in September 2020. There was another position for the head of internal audit, which was only ratified in 2021. Therefore, we should find that there were irregular appointments. Those irregular appointments were regularized by the board. And before they regularize them, they should be able to take action against the person. I will forward you also those ratifications, so that you can post them on your website. The public should know that this is what is happening.
All right.
Because the report does not tell us that indeed there were irregularities which were endorsed by the board.
I take it, therefore, that because you are not satisfied with the Semenya process, you're challenging his findings, yes or no?
I'll be writing a letter to Scopa. You remember the Scopa process was suspended because of the internal. The internal processes, I did not even have confidence in it in the first place. That's why I requested Scopa to investigate. And Scopa was going to investigate unfortunately, they were stopped, and what the outcome of that is the whitewash. I would like to stop and raise the issues that I'm raising with you, that the board, there are areas where they condone or ratified irregular appointment without taking any appropriate action.
All right. Final question to you, Mr. Tshitangano. Are you the only person in the Eskom management, or should I now speak about you in the past? Do you think you were the only one who had such grievances within the Eskom management team, or are there others? Eskom
is a very big institution. On a day-to-day basis, they receive grievances and allegations from different role players, and those allegations are investigated. But unfortunately, with my allegations, they were not investigated. That's why we are talking about them after a year.
All right. Mr. Tshitangano, I want to leave it there, but perhaps one last shot. In 2005, it's reported that you came to know of a process that was going to probe your performance. And subsequent to that, you started making allegations similar to what you have made against André Ruyter. Do you have a history of such behavior?
Otherwise, you will have to give more than a minute, because those allegations are not true. In 2005, I made allegations against my HOD when I was in the Department of Finance. And I made those allegations to the MEC. Those allegations were not investigated. Then I took them to the Public Health Commission. Those allegations were investigated and they were confirmed, and those reports are there. Unfortunately, the journalists who wrote that story did not investigate further and find out what happened to the outcome. I was also charged, and those charges were withdrawn because they were baseless.
All right. Soli Tshitangano, the now dismissed Chief Procurement Officer at Eskom, thank you very much for your time. And indeed, I